We pulled up to the old house on a gray afternoon, the truck groaning under boxes and suitcases. The place stood at the end of a quiet street, its paint peeling like dead skin, windows dark and watchful. I stepped out first, breathing in the damp air that smelled of earth and something sour underneath. The kids tumbled from the back seat, their laughter sharp against the silence. My husband grabbed the keys from the realtor, who had smiled too wide and left fast, muttering about a good deal. We were the fourth family in 5 years. No one mentioned why the price was so low. Inside, the floors creaked under our feet, wood warped from years of rain seeping through the roof. Dust hung in the air like fog, and the walls felt too close, pressing in as we unpacked. The living room had a big stone fireplace, cold and empty, with scratches on the mantel that looked like claw marks. I ran my fingers over them, feeling the grooves bite into my skin. The kids claimed rooms upstairs, their voices echoing down the hall. My husband lit a fire that night, flames spitting shadows across the walls. We ate takeout on the floor, plates balanced on knees, talking about fresh starts. But sleep came slow, the house settling around us with sighs and pops that sounded like whispers. The first night I woke to scratching. It came from the walls, faint at first, like nails dragging slow across plaster. I sat up in bed, heart thudding, and listened. My husband snored beside me, oblivious. The sound grew, circling the room, then stopped at the closet door. I slipped out of bed, bare feet cold on the floor, and pressed my ear to the wood. Nothing, just the hum of the fridge downstairs. I told myself it was mice, old houses full of them. Back in bed, I pulled the covers tight, but the dark felt heavier, like eyes watching from the corners. By morning, the kids found footprints in the attic dust. Small ones, child-sized, leading to a boarded-up window. They laughed it off, saying it was a game from the last owners. We pried the boards loose, revealing a view of the overgrown backyard, branches clawing at the glass. Something fluttered in the corner, a scrap of fabric, pink and faded, caught on a nail. My daughter picked it up, twirling it like a ribbon, but I snatched it away. It smelled of mildew and something sweeter, like candy gone rotten. We sealed the window again, but the attic door stuck that night, as if someone didn't want it closed. Whispers started on the third day. They came during meals, soft voices murmuring just below the clink of forks. My husband paused mid-bite, fork hovering, and asked if I heard that. I nodded, pretending it was the wind. The kids didn't notice, too busy arguing over the last roll. But later, when I washed dishes, the words sharpened. Stay. They hissed from the drain, bubbles popping like tiny mouths. I dropped a plate, shards scattering across the tile. Water swirled black for a second, then cleared. My hands shook as I swept it up, glass cutting my palm. Blood mixed with soap, running pink down the sink. That evening we found the realtor's file in the kitchen drawer, half buried under takeout menus. Yellowed pages typed reports from the police. First family gone after 2 months. No trace, just an empty house and a pot still simmering on the stove. Second vanished mid-dinner, chairs pushed back like they stood up polite and walked away. Third the kids, first then the parents. Screams heard by neighbors but doors locked tight. Each time the house sold cheap, new buyers drawn by the quiet street and big yard. My husband read aloud, voice flat, then folded the papers and burned them in the fire. Old news, he said, but his eyes flicked to the stairs. The cold came next, a chill that seeped through cracks and settled in our bones. Rooms warmed by heaters turned icy by noon, breath fogging in the air. The kids bundled in coats inside, playing cards at the table, their fingers numb. One night my son woke screaming, saying hands pulled at his blankets. We rushed to his room, found the sheets twisted like ropes, mattress dented in the middle. No one there, just the window cracked open and frost rhyming the sill. Outside the yard was still, trees black silhouettes against the moon. I latched the window, but frost bloomed on the glass overnight, shapes like faces pressed close. Shadows moved when we weren't looking. I turned from the stove to find them stretched long across the floor, not matching our bodies. One stretched toward the basement door, thin and jointed wrong. My husband nailed the door shut, hammer blows echoing like heartbeats. But the shadows slipped under anyway, pooling in corners. The kids stopped playing upstairs alone. They huddled in the living room, drawing pictures of stick families holding hands. One drawing showed a house with eyes in the windows, mouths open wide. I crumpled it, but more appeared, crayon lines smudged like tears. Hunger gnawed at us, not for food, but something deeper. Meals tasted flat, meat turning gray on plates. We forced bites down, But sleep brought dreams of empty rooms, echoes of laughter fading. I found scratches on my arms one morning, red lines spelling nothing, just rage. My husband's neck bruised purple, fingerprints blooming like flowers. The kids drew inward, eyes hollow, whispering to walls when they thought we didn't hear. "They're lonely," my daughter said once, staring at the fireplace. Flames danced, but no heat touched her face. The basement called on the seventh night. A thump came from below, steady like footsteps climbing stairs. We gathered in the hall, flashlights shaking in our hands. The nailed door rattled, wood splintering at the edges. My husband swung the hammer again, but it bounced back, handle burning cold. The thumps grew louder, joined by giggles, high and broken. We backed away, kids clinging to our legs. Then silence, thick as tar. In the morning, the door hung open, nails scattered like teeth. Steps led down into black, walls slick with damp. We tried to leave that day. Packed bags by the door, truck idling in the drive. But the engine died, battery drained flat. Keys stuck in locks, doors slamming shut on their own. Rain fell hard, blurring the windows, and inside, the whispers turned to pleas. "Join us." They breathed from vents, from cracks in the ceiling. Faces appeared in mirrors, pale and pleading, mouths moving without sound. Not strangers, versions of us, eyes wide with warning. My reflection smiled when I didn't, teeth too sharp. Night fell fast, lights flickering out one by one. We barricaded in the living room, furniture piled high, fire roaring useless against the cold. Shadows thickened, spilling from walls like ink. Hands reached from under the couch, fingers pale and grasping. The kids screamed as shapes loomed, small and twisted, pulling at their clothes. My husband swung the poker, connecting with air that howled back. I held them close, whispering it would end, but the air tasted of salt and fear. Then the house breathed. Walls pulsed, floor tilting like a ship in storm. Whispers swelled to a chorus, voices overlapping. Moms calling kids, dads promising safety, all laced with hunger. Footsteps circled outside the pile, slow and deliberate. A hand broke through cold on my ankle, nails digging deep. I kicked free, blood warm on skin. More hands followed from floorboards, from curtains pulling us down. The kids vanished first, dragged into cracks too small for bodies, their cries muffled quick. My husband fought poker, flashing red in firelight, but shadows swallowed him whole, his yell cut short. I crawled back, spine to the hearth, heat scorching my shirt. The chorus laughed now, a wet choking sound. Faces pressed from walls, our faces, mouths stretched in grins. "You're home," they said, voices mine. The fire died, embers winking out. Cold wrapped tight, pulling me under. I clawed at the floor, nails splintering, but the dark took hold, soft as blankets. Now the house waits quiet again. Dust settles on empty plates, bags by the door. Whispers fade to scratches, ready for the next truck on the drive. They'll come with laughter boxes full of hope. We'll watch from the walls, hungry for company. Join us, you're next.